All right, let's pull back the curtain on the magic that's happening inside your computer right now. We're about to go on a journey to figure out how a tiny piece of silicon, the processor, actually thinks. Let's jump right in.
I mean, really think about that for a second. Every single time you click your mouse, type a letter, or watch a video, your computer is making billions of tiny split-second decisions. So how on earth does it do that? Well, you might be surprised to find out that it all boils down to some incredibly simple rules.
Okay, so the processor is the brain of the whole operation, right? And at its heart, it speaks the simplest language imaginable. On or off, 1 or 0. That's binary. It makes all its decisions using millions of microscopic little switches called logic gates. And get this, the whole system is based on an idea from way back in the 1800s called Boolean logic. Isn't that wild? The foundation of your super modern computer is actually 19th century math.
So if we want to understand how billions of these little switches can create something so powerful, we've got to start with the absolute basics. Let's meet the 3 fundamental decision makers that are at the very heart of every single processor. First up, we've got the simplest one of all, the NOT gate. You can also call it an inverter. Its job is super straightforward. It just flips whatever signal it gets. You give it a 1, it spits out a 0. You give it a 0, it gives you a 1. It's basically the ultimate contrarian of the circuit world. And here's exactly what that looks like. You've got the symbol for it, and next to that is something called a truth table, which is just a fancy cheat sheet for what it does. As you can see, if the input, which we'll call A, is 0, the output is 1. If the input is 1, the output is 0. Yep, that's it. Simple as that.
Next, we have the AND gate. Now, you can think of this one like a really strict gatekeeper. It will only, and I mean only, output a 1, or true, if every single one of its inputs is also a 1. If even just one of its inputs is a 0, the AND gate is like, nope, not happening, and the output is 0. All conditions have to be met, no exception.
So take a look at its truth table. You can see exactly what I'm talking about. Notice how there's only one single row where the output is 1? That's the only time when both input A and input B are 1. In every other case, the output is a big fat 0. That's our gatekeeper doing its job. And rounding out our big 3, we have the OR gate. Now, compared to the strict AND gate, this one's way more relaxed. The OR gate will output a 1 if at least one of its inputs is a 1. It doesn't care if it's the first one, the second one, or both. As long as there's a 1 coming in from somewhere, the output is going to be 1.
And its truth table makes this crystal clear. See that? The only time the OR gate outputs a 0 is when both inputs are 0. In every other situation, it's green lights all the way. The output is 1. It's a much more inclusive gate for sure.
Okay, so we've met our 3 basic building blocks, NOT, AND, and OR. But how do you get from these simple little rules to, playing a modern video game? Well, this is where the magic really starts. It's all about how we combine them. In fact, let's build something useful right now, a circuit that can actually do math.
We're going to build a circuit called the half adder. Its whole purpose is to add 2 single binary digits together. To do this, we need our trusty AND gate, and we're going to bring in one new player, the XOR gate. XOR stands for exclusive OR. It's kind of like the OR gate, but with a twist. It only outputs a 1 if its inputs are different from each other. So we'll use that XOR gate to get our sum, and the AND gate to see if we need to carry the.
And here it is. This is the actual blueprint. Our 2 inputs, A and B, get wired into both gates at the same time. The XOR gate gives us the sum, and the AND gate tells us if there's a carry. Pretty clever, right? A really elegant little solution for doing some basic math in binary.
Now, let's zoom in on that last row of the table. What happens when we add 1 plus 1? Well, in binary, the number 2 is written as 1, 0. And look at that. Our circuit correctly gives us a sum of 0 and a carry of 1. Boom! This simple little circuit just did a math problem. Now just imagine chaining millions or even billions of these together, and suddenly you can see how a computer can tackle some seriously complex calculations.
But wait, just calculating things isn't quite enough. To be a real computer, a machine has to be able to remember things. This is the crucial leap, the thing that separates a simple calculator from a powerful computing device we use every day. Let's see how that works.
So at a high level, there are basically 2 types of circuits. On one side, you have combinational circuits. That's our half adder. They're totally reactive. Their output depends only on what's being fed into them right now. They have 0 memory.
But on the other side, you have sequential circuits, and their output depends on the current input and on whatever happened before. They have memory, and that right there is the key to everything.
So what's the secret sauce that gives a circuit memory? It's this, a feedback loop. You see how part of the circuit's output gets fed back into itself? That simple trick allows the circuit to know its own history, to store a state. This one idea is the foundation for everything from your computer's RAM to the little bits of memory inside the processor itself. So, these incredibly simple building blocks, logic gates, and memory loops have brought us all this way, to the powerful computers we have today. But what's next? Well, the fundamental principles are pretty much the same, but the tech being built on top of them is about to get a mind-blowing upgrade. We are entering a seriously new era here. I'm talking about things like quantum computers that use totally different rules of physics to solve problems we can't even dream of tackling today. We've got neuromorphic chips that are literally designed to work like a human brain. We're stacking chips in 3D to make them faster and more powerful, and even exploring using light instead of electricity. The foundation might still be zeros and ones, but the future of how computers think is about to get very, very interesting. It really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? We started this whole journey with a few simple gates that could just barely add 1 plus 1. And now, that same fundamental logic has brought us to the edge of computers that can simulate entire molecules. So if these are the simple blocks we're using today, what are we going to be able to build tomorrow? The possibilities are honestly just mind-boggling.
Hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive into how a computer actually thinks and you found it helpful, do me a favor and be sure to like, share, and subscribe to Tech Talk 101 for more explainers just like this one. Thanks so much for watching.